Hey, friend. Today's conversation is going to be a little controversial. You might think I'm crazy. You might think the fellow that I'm interviewing is crazy. But after 9 years of being in human design, what this image that's behind me is actually right on the inside cover of the book that Ra and Linda wrote, and that is the Science of Differentiation, that manual. So when I saw this image, that is part of the Hebrew Bible is what it's actually a part of. And then I saw some people talking about that the earth is flat, not round. And we're not in this universe spiraling through. And I thought, okay, I wonder if Ra had a sense of this because he spoke greatly of the earth plane, the light field. So in flat earth, when the terminology and everything that they use there is that earth is actually like a battery, the positive and the negative. And then he also talked about the demon realm. And you'll notice here when I speak with Dave, one of the things that he says towards the end of the interview, and it's an hour long. Hopefully you can stick with me through that, is what's happening, on our planet is we all have manifesting abilities, and the manifesting abilities really comes from our internal conversation that we're having with ourselves. So if the conditioned mind is forcing us to say bad things about us, say nasty things about us, that is really helping the quote unquote demon realm really keep the conditioning and keep us confined in this delusion. And delusion is one of the things that's built right into the human design system. It's in the 16.1 in that gate. And that's where we are right now in this cross of planning, is in this delusion. And when I saw this image and I knew that it was a part of the human design book as well, I'm like, And flat earth, it's a level, earth is a level plane. And we're not these minuscule, worthless beings that's flying through the universe. We are the center of creation. And that might be hard for people to grasp because there has been such a delusional energy happening since around the 1950s. And if you move forward into this interview and you stick with us, Dave has a really interesting app, and he's got like hours. I think he said 500 hours of information regarding flat earth, level earth. They show all kinds of different proofs. He actually speaks to one lady anyways, that is over 100 years old. And she was taught that the earth was flat and level. So if this is really too much for your brain to wrap around, just let it settle in and just feel it into your body. Because one of the things Ra also said was that our crystal bundles they're actually, in our planet, in our earth surface, like in the what I would call the firmament, and they're around that energy field. And when you see Dave's video of what the planets really are, that they're sentient beings, they're an energy frequency, they're not a rock flying around in space, you'll be able to understand exactly how Ross spoke about that these sentient beings, are providing us with the information, and we are a part of their crystal bundle. Again, take this as you need to. I've leaned into it quite deeply, and I get a real big sense that Ra knew about this through his teachings, but I don't feel as though he was comfortable bringing this information out. So I'm going to do it. And I'm on the right angle cross of contagion. And that's what I'm designed to do, is to, say yes to brand new things and to lean into the fates and contribute and bring my energy resource to the planet so that we can move forward and we can be empowered and we can literally have a whole brand new experience. So hopefully you're able to absorb this and see it in a new light as well. Please definitely comment below. Hopefully there isn't a whole bunch of shills that come along and lambaste Dave and I for having this conversation, but that's okay if they do. As we awaken and as we open our minds to the profound information that is within us, like we are the aspect of God, that we are it. We are on this plane having this experience because we're designed to. So have fun, lean into it if you can. And if not, that's okay too. You might want to come back at a different time and have a conversation with me about it. All right. Have fun, friends. So tell me a little bit about, what brought you to this realization that Earth is flat, that, we aren't spinning, that we're not on a ball. Take me there.
Sounds crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did a podcast looking into all sorts of conspiracies and stuff, and people started saying, "Hey, Dave, have you looked into flat Earth?" And like any sensible person, I would say, "That's crazy. Delete the email, ban them from our social media for being so stupid." And then I was forced to look, and I tried to disprove the globe. I didn't try to prove flat Earth or disprove flat Earth. I tried to prove the globe, disprove flat Earth. And only then, when you actually look and realize how much brainwashing we've all been, brainwashed with since before we could speak. It's unreal when you see it. Yeah. And then once you realize what the flat Earth isn't and what the ball Earth, understand the globe model, you wonder how you ever believed any of it in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. I was kind of the same way. I had a few people introduce it to me, but what they were introducing me was the Flat Earth Society.
Flat Earth Society is a government-controlled disinformation site meant to lead you away. You go there and it's like, all right, what about gravity? You look up gravity there. It says, flat earthers believe that the Earth is rising at 9.8 meters per second, which makes no sense at all, right? It would have to constantly be accelerating to maintain that lifting, downward force. No flat earther believes that. Only globe earthers believe flat earthers believe that.
Okay.
It's, what? From a glober point of view, anyone that's listening that doesn't believe in flat earth, you're a glober. No offense. A little bit of offense. Little offense. Okay. But what you think flat earthers think is absolutely crazy. Okay. Flat earthers don't think what you think we think.
Right. Yep. And that's the disease that's on our planet, I believe, or our flat Earth, I guess I would like to say, is we think we know what other people are thinking. And then we try to convince them to think like us, and it's like, that's a dis-ease that's happening. It's really interesting, right?
It's unreal. And people go, flat earthers are science deniers. Right. No, we use science.
Yes.
Globe earthers they love the word science and they love the word physics, but that's all they use. They go, well, science and physics. I'm like, what science and physics? They're like, all of it. I'm like, what in specific? And when you try to come up with one proof of the globe, you fail. You can't come up with one. Yeah. What about pictures? What about boats over the horizon? All brainwashing. All brainwashing.
Yeah. Do you want to show some of your images of boats over the horizon? I think that's so fun.
Yeah, the boats over the horizon is, if the Earth was a globe, boats would go over the horizon.
Right.
I'll give you that. They would go over the horizon. Getting my props. So as you saw in this picture, this boat, it wasn't even there. It wasn't even you couldn't see it. So now that I'm zooming out, it'll disappear from the bottom up. And that's all due to several things. Angular resolution limits of your eyes, where the lower angles get too small first. And the other thing is there's little waves out there. And those little waves, as you pull back, will block the waves. Just like you can hold your finger out in front of a city skyline and block the city skyline with your finger.
Right.
Okay? Those little waves are hiding the boat. I call it the wave front edge. And you believe that the top of these waves here are the horizon. From a distance, they look like a horizon, but the horizon is really below that.
Right. Right. Yeah. So crazy. And do you want to share the numbers, like the measurements that globers try to say is happening?
Yeah, I mean, in the heliocentric model, you have to believe that you're on a ball spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. So when you're watching the sunset, the sun's not going down. You're just tipping over backwards, making the sun appear to go down. Okay. You're falling. So you're watching the sunset. You're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound.
Right.
That should do it right there for you. But we're also orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour, chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour, curving around the solar system, the universe, whatever, the galaxy at 500,000 miles per hour, right? While the entire galaxy is moving sideways at like 1.3 million miles per hour, over 1,000,000 miles per hour. All nonsense.
Yeah.
All just laughable, complete and total nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard of the Georgia Guidestones?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the Georgia Guidestones have a small hole in one of them. And when you look through it, you see the North Star, Polaris. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How is that possible? It's been up for over 40 years. How is it possible when you look through it that star never moves?
Right.
Right? Try like, I mean, you're corkscrewing through space. How is that star lined up with there for over 4 decades?
Yeah. Amazing.
That proves right there beyond anyone that has a thinking mind, just this one thing alone proves that we're not moving.
Right. Yep.
Unwind everything else from there.
Yep. Yeah. It's so interesting to see the delusion, right? The delusion of all of this that, like you say, we've been trained to look at this stuff through pictures. It's just images that they created. Yeah.
So here's a little thing you can do yourself. So imagine your head is the globe. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so you hang a big light in the middle of the room. So you got this big light right here and your head is the globe. So when got the back of your head facing the light, the front of your face is facing at midnight. Okay. Midnight is right here on the globe. 12 noon is right here. You're looking at the sun. So you got your light, whether inside, outside, whatever. And then you're looking away and see what you see over there. Okay. I see a painting. I see whatever. And those are the stars that I see. 6 months later, you're over here and you're looking that way. So go to the other side of your globe, look that way, and tell me if you can see the same items that you saw over there.
Right.
You can't.
No.
But you can.
Right. Exactly.
Now, some of the stars are not visible at different times of the year, and that's because of the light cycle. It's light while they're still visible to you. Okay.
Okay.
So one of the biggest globe proofs, that they call a globe proof, is saying that you see different stars in the south. Now, if you were on a ball and you're down here, you're going to see stars over here. And you're on a ball, you're up here. I agree. Okay. But if you're in a flat plane and the stars are close and you have thickness of atmosphere is thick, especially down, the lower levels are thick. It becomes opaque over distance. And just like you have the sun is over you. Well, now I won't even use the sun. Let's say you have a whole bunch of airplanes, 10 airplanes in a row, paralleling each other, all at the same height.
Mm-hmm.
The middle airplane is over your head. That's your 12 noon sun. Okay. Right. The other airplanes that are farther over, they're lower in the sky.
Right.
And if they keep going farther and farther, they're going to merge with the horizon. You're not going to be able to see them. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if somebody was way over there underneath the plane that I can't see, they look up, they see that plane. I look up, I see this plane. Those are the stars.
Right.
Okay. We look up and we see different stars because we're in a different area of the flat earth plane.
Right. Yep. Totally makes sense, Dave. Totally makes sense.
It all makes sense. It's crazy.
It totally does. Do you want to share your images of the moon landing? I think that's one of the things that went, oh yeah, totally. Again, we're all trained to look at this stuff through a delusional viewpoint.
What's funny is I used to believe before when I became a flat earther, and I still believed in the moon landing because I never looked into it. And a lot of times the fake moon landing is what brings people to flat earth. But I looked into it and I was like, oh wow. And then one day I was like, yeah, wait, we didn't go to the moon. You really? And everyone just looked at me like, are you insane? Then it took 5 minutes of 5 minutes of looking. You have to believe that this thing took men to the moon.
Right.
Mm-hmm. This is the lander that took off somehow magically, went back up into space above orbiting the moon to catch up with the orbiter. Right. There's two guys in this one. There's another guy in the other one. Are you kidding me? Right? People go, NASA couldn't have faked it back in the 60s and 70s because we didn't have CGI. And yeah, they didn't have CGI. They used little Airfix models and a dark room and paintings.
Right.
They didn't have CGI.
Yeah. And here we are in 2021, and I can't make a cell phone call from my home sometimes because it drops, and yet the president of the United States is talking to people on the moon in 1969. Like, how is that even possible?
Do you know why he can't pick up his hammer?
No.
He can't pick it up because he's hanging from wires, right? And he's trying to get down. And people don't even believe that this is real. This is NASA footage of the moon landing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people want to believe we went to the moon.
Right.
Right. This is the first spacewalk. Okay. What? Are you kidding me? I mean, look at this. And his helmet turns. Watch his helmet. It turns even though it's fixed, and his head's supposed to turn within the helmet.
Okay.
This is a claymation model.
Right.
Because they didn't even have CGI. This is claymation.
Wow.
Yeah.
These are some new things, Dave. I haven't seen you show these before.
I've showed them.
Have you? Have you showed this one?
Excuse me.
That's funny.
Yeah. So here's one. Here's a new one. This is guys on the space station. I sped it up a little bit, and they're having this really awkward press conference. Look at this. These guys are hanging from waist harnesses. First, you're in space. Why do you have these bulky? What is going on underneath their pants?
Right.
And look at their belts. They got giant belts. Why do you need a belt in space? Right? Are your pants going to fall down? Right? They're hanging from waist harnesses, and they're very carefully trying to balance themselves.
Okay.
And you can see them reaching for. They're always holding their arms like this, right? Because they're trying not to go like this.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And there's so many of these. If you just watch any of them, and lots of times they have layering issues. Sometimes they become transparent, where they were taking out the wires and they actually took out part of their head. It happens all the time. But these guys are clearly hanging from wires.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Right.
Unbelievable.
And these guys, this guy, I'll show it again. Now, a lot of times they play with blow up balls. Well, those are real objects. They're filled with helium, just so they're neutral. You ever make a neutrally buoyant balloon? You get just around but he actually drops it and it falls. And so they all kind of pick it up, and she's like, no, don't, just let it go. They screw up all the time.
Right. Oh, okay.
And it fell slowly because it didn't have that much helium in it. It's hard to keep a helium balloon, a helium ball neutrally buoyant for long because it changes. So he was holding it. He probably squeezed some helium out of it, and it fell down.
Right.
Because they're not in space. They're all there hanging from wires. Again, they all always have these pressed shirts that are buttoned up too high. Like, who the fuck excuse me.
That's okay.
Who the hell buttons up their shirt like that? And they always have the nice, clean, pressed shirts. Where is their wardrobe on this place? They're always shirts on. Okay?
Yeah.
It is absolute nonsense.
And it surprises me because I'm like, why do you want to be a part of that game? right? Like, why do they
Well,
want to
these
be a
guys have
part of that
sold
game?
they've sold their souls. They've done
Yeah.
it for money. They've done it for power. Maybe they're even compromised. Maybe they got caught with a trunk full of cocaine or something, and they're like, "All right, you're going to be an astronaut," whatever.
Right.
I start to wonder if some of these guys are even real,
Right.
because at this point they can fake people,
Yeah.
and do all sorts of stuff. So,
True. True.
if you believe that the world is spinning, right? Think about this, right? Point up right now. You point up, point down. Up is up, down is down, no matter where you are, right? Someone in Australia, up is here. Up is not down in Australia. If I'm looking down, they're not looking down, they're looking down. Down is down, up is up, forward and backwards, left and right are all relative to our position. You have to believe that this is going on in Australia. Okay? I mean, just it's not even upside down, it's spinning upside down and rocketing through the vacuum of space.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. And one of the things I love when you talk about gravity and being able to suck, have a straw and drink a drink on Earth.
Right. Here's a graphic which I'm working on. I haven't added it to my presentation yet. So if you look at Earth has a pressure of 1013.25 millibars. Space is all those zeros. A difference. I don't even know what this number is. Okay, is it 76 sextillion, 184 quintillion, 210 trillion, 526 billion, 315 million, 789,474? Hey, I did it right. That's the difference in pressure. Okay. That's the difference in pressure. Okay. When you have like a quarter of a millibar difference in pressure, water will lift up, air will go in the other direction. You can't have high pressure and low pressure next to each other without a vacuum, without a barrier.
Right.
And everyone's seen where they have a tanker truck and they suck all the air out of it and it collapses upon itself. A steel thing just collapses. The same is true for expansion. Things explode. If you don't believe me, get a Poland Spring bottle, empty bottle on an airplane, close it when you're on ground. And then when you go up top, when you get up to altitude where they're trying to keep the pressure the same, there's only a tiny little difference in pressure. The bottle will expand. And when you open it, it'll let out its pressure. Okay. That's like the tiniest little difference in pressure.
Right.
Okay. Here's another one for you. Ready?
Yes.
So
I love it.
People, we look up in the sky. We're told that those lights we see are balls. So everyone thinks they're balls. Okay. We don't know what the heck they are. Where you look at something and you say, oh, the sun is underneath the clouds, or, they're shining up, the shadow, the things that you see in the difference, you can't perceive them unless you have all the variables. Are these two tables the same size?
They don't appear to be.
Okay. One of them's like square, one of them's long. They're the same size. This is the same size piece of paper. It's the same size.
Okay. Okay.
It's just an optical illusion.
Right.
So when we look up in the sky, when we're looking at things in the distance, there's so many things that change, that the variations, the way things change. And then you add atmospheric moisture and different temperatures, things change. When we're looking up in the sky, we're looking up through the air. And then I believe that that space is liquid. So what are we really seeing when we're looking up? Here we go. So have you seen this? So this is just looking through a curved glass. So first the size just changed because we're looking through something. And then if you add water to it, the direction things reverse. Okay.
Wow.
So when you say, you know, well, the stars are going in the other direction in the south, well, there's a whole bunch of answers for that.
Right.
Right. And
Yeah.
also, did you see that star? Look at that. It went the opposite. It moved the other way.
Right.
So what direction is it really going? Right. Imagine you have a big disk of stars above you spinning, and you're you know, they're spinning. If you're looking at it this way, they're spinning and they're coming from my right shoulder to my left shoulder. But if I turn around, they're coming from my left shoulder to my right shoulder.
Right.
So the people in the south just looking, like someone in the north looks at the equator, someone in the south looks at the equator. They're both looking different ways. And for one of them, the stars are spinning clockwise. The other one, the stars are spinning counterclockwise.
Right. Do you want to show your images of the stars and the planets? And
no,
they're no.
I'll show them. This is the star Arcturus, where our consumer optics have outgrown their lives. When we zoom in, you can do this yourself. I did this myself. Okay. You just buy a Nikon P900 or P1000 camera. It's the highest zoom consumer cameras. And you can zoom in and this is what you see. It's not a ball, you know, this is the star Sirius.
Right.
Right. This is my favorite, Capella. Right. It's amazing when you really look at these things. So, you know, do they look like they're underwater or in water? Maybe. Google star in a jar, where they take sound waves and they focus them into a jar of water and little stars appear in the water.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Okay.
Right. So this is what you can see for yourself, or you can trust the liars at NASA and JAXA and all the other fake space agencies. Oh, look, here's the moon rise. Okay. All right. And to say this was done in Photoshop is an insult to Photoshop. You can do this in I don't know, and you can do it in MS Word, I bet. Okay. Which is a Word document program.
Wow.
Yeah. This is people, you show this to people and they go, well, that's not real. No, you're right. It's not real, but it's really what they showed us.
Right.
This is what they showed us to make us believe that they're on the moon.
Unbelievable. And there's no stars. There's no stars in the background. It's a black background.
I can get a little cutout that looks like this moon thing. And then I can get a cutout I get a black room, and then I can get a stick and hold the moon and just rise it up and film it like that. Okay. Right. And it would look exactly like this. I don't know. There's a guy behind there with a stick. Hopefully they did it with a computer program and not a guy with a stick, but there's no reason it can't be a guy on a stick with a stick.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
It's crazy, insane nonsense. And then when you look at the sun, you know, does the sun look like it's going down, or does it just look like it's going away? Right.
Yeah, that's a good image of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what we're seeing here, when you see it, so this line here, these buildings here, these things in the distance, which you can't even see beyond that, are above your eye level. And the sun will just go beyond it. But here's the atmospheric deck of opacity, where it just kind of disappears into it. That's not really the horizon. That's just where you can't see through anymore.
Right.
This is my flat earth kitchen. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I did.
I'll show it for your listeners.
Sure.
So I got my counter with the flat earth, and I have this line, which is a level line. And I'm just bringing my sun across the line, my sun, SUN.
Yeah.
And it's going by these mountains or atmospheric deck, whatever. It just never goes below it. Now I got a camera on the other side of the counter looking up at that line. And this is what it looks like from over there. Kind of looks like the sun's going down, doesn't it?
Right.
But we know it's going level, and we know it never goes below this, which from a long distance looks like it's at eye level. The clouds are at eye level at 30 miles away. Okay. But they're really still 10,000 feet in the air. Okay. And it looks like it's setting. Now we'll compare this to an actual sunset, and you tell me if you see the difference. Here's an actual sunset. Now you think this is the horizon, but the horizon's really up here. Well, not the horizon, the atmospheric deck of opacity. Does it look similar? Okay.
Wow.
Sometimes I show this to people and they're like, that wasn't a real sunset. This is a real sunset.
Right.
Okay. This is just the limits of your vision.
Right.
and the sun just sets behind it. Sometimes that atmospheric deck is even closer to the apparent horizon. That day, there seems to be more moisture in the sky.
Right. Dave,
So
can
again,
you share your app and show like what the, the look of a flat Earth really is?
yeah, so here we go. Can you see that all right?
I do.
And move that. So the sky is a perfect clock. Okay. The sun is the hour hand. You know what? We're in daylight savings time right now. So I'm going to quickly switch that.
Sure.
Daylight savings time on, because I just re-downloaded the app. So I hadn't done that. So now you look, the sun is off the hour hand. It's not pinned to the hour hand because we're in fake daylight savings, which is basically to throw our bodies off because we are part of this Earth system, this Earth clock. And they use it to throw us off. Daylight savings is the dumbest thing ever. That's like getting a quilt going, my feet are cold, so I'm going to cut off a foot on the top of the quilt and tie it to the bottom, sew it to the bottom of the quilt. That way my quilt will be longer. Okay. Dumbest thing ever. Okay. So I'll speed it up and you'll see that the moon, which is right behind the sun, will start appearing. And because the sun will lap the moon once every 28 days. There it is, a waxing crescent. So the sun will lap the moon once every 28 days. Okay.
Yep.
And so the position and phase of the moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. The sun keeps track of the hours and the days. There used to be 13 months of 28 days. Okay. But they hijacked that also. Right. And so that's how it goes. Now I'm going to show you how it migrates in between those lines in a second. But if I turn on the stars, you're the astrologist. What sign is this?
That is Taurus.
All right. So
I believe
the sun is in I believe the sun is in Taurus right now.
Yeah.
And the stars lap the moon only once a year. So it takes a whole month for this next one to catch up to it. And then Cancer will catch up to the sun, and it spends about a month in each one of those. Okay. So if I turn that off and I show you, so right now the inner yellow line is the Tropic of, do you know?
I think what is it? Cancer? I can't remember.
Tropic of Cancer, and the outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn.
There you go.
Those are the two tropics we heard. And I never understood that as a kid. I'm like, how is the sun in the Tropic of Cancer? I'm like, I don't get it. But right now it's May, if I go to June, July, and I turn, so July, you see now the sun is closer to the tropic. It's kind of over the Tropic of Cancer. If I turn on the tropics, look, it's right in Cancer.
Right.
Okay. And if I jump it 6 months later, it's out over the Tropic of Capricorn. And if I turn on the stars, it's right there in the Tropic of Capricorn.
Right.
So it's where the sun is, and then all of the other ones aren't named for 1 month because all the other ones, the sun's in there twice a year. Right.
Okay.
So that's how that works. Where am I going? So the seasons, this is how the seasons work. And seasons are I really love the seasons because the seasons by themselves prove the helio-nonsensical model is complete and total garbage because it makes no sense whatsoever. So right now the sun is approaching the Tropic of Cancer, right? Where do you live?
I'm actually in Alberta, Canada.
So you're in Alberta, Canada. It's getting warmer, right?
Yes,
because the sun is getting closer. Come May, June, July, boom, the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, and it's as close as it's going to get to Canada. That's the height of your summer.
Yep.
Okay. So the sun's is radiating heat to everything that's close to it. Okay. Out here in Australia, they're having the height of their winter because the sun is farther away from them. Farther away means lower in the sky, just like we have, right? But if I jump the sun forward to January, boom, they're having their summer. We're having our winter. They're having longer days. We're having shorter days. The sun is lower in the sky for us. It's higher in the sky for them.
Yeah. Amazing.
Right? That's how seasons work. They make zero sense on a ball. couple other things that the app does. It shows you how a true compass works. East and west are circles around the magnetic center. South is every direction away from the center. I could show you. It has, for those of you that are just learning about flat Earth, or if you're teaching people about flat Earth, has all of these images. You can pull up all sorts of stuff to show people. Look, if you want to show plane routes, this is the, is that showing? It's a little cut off. It's a little, oh,
there you go.
So the plane route from Santiago to Australia, does that, why are they going that way when in reality, that's what that route looks like? It's a straight line.
Yeah.
Makes no sense on a globe, makes perfect sense on a flat Earth.
Yeah.
Tons of stuff, always adding new images in here. Again, you said you like the moon landing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, did we go to the moon in that?
Right.
What the building materials? I'd like to see NASA's purchase order. I'd like 400 pounds of paper mache, 50 wraps of gold foil in 2 shades, some curtain rods, a fence post, some cardboard. What else? What other materials do you see in here?
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah. It's the dumbest thing ever. Some staples, some Scotch tape. Okay. To believe that 2 men landed on the moon and took off. This thing is gigantic too. Look at the structural. Any structural engineer watching this, please, if you believe this is real, you need to quit your job.
Right.
All right. Because I'm not driving across any bridge you build.
Talk to me a little bit about aliens too, Dave.
Yeah, I will. Last thing on the app is for those of you learning, every day there's a featured video down on the bottom here. Click that, watch the daily video every day. And within 2 weeks, you will lose the respect of your family and friends, just like we have. And you'll be a flat earther. But tides are changing. But before I'm offering a Bitcoin for anybody that can come up with one proof of the globe. But before you do, you have to hit the frequently asked questions, and up come everything that Google and YouTube will hide from you. Like, what about eclipses? If I click that, up come a playlist of videos that YouTube won't serve you. And then you can learn about what eclipses are. Has tons of other information, playlists in different languages, all sorts of stuff. So that's amazing. Called the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Available for Google. You have to have Google, Android phones. You have to have 8.0 operating system or higher, and iPhone, you have to have an iPhone 6 or higher. All right. And I'll have,
is there a link that I can add in the description?
You get an email with a link to it. It's by Bluewater Bay. There's a knockoff out there already by the Flat Earth Society people on Google Play. And if you get that app, it's fine. Just don't send me an email telling me my app sucks, because my app is the highest rated app in the App Store. It's even with the Globe Trolls trying to give me 1 stars. Okay. It's still the highest rated app. Just read the reviews if you're concerned.
That's amazing. And see, I love the dome and like this image that I have behind me.
Yeah.
And that's why I totally connected with you when I first saw you, because again, I'm a human design analyst, and that system, the creator of it used this image all the time. And then I noticed that it's actually a part of the Hebrew Bible and the images that they use. There's a dome, right. There's these outside, lands that you're going to talk about and share. So
yeah, so people believe. So let's talk about space first.
Mm-hmm.
You have to believe that in the helio-nonsensical BS model, I call it, that's the Earth and that's the sun. Okay, right. And then the sun only looks tiny because it's far away, right? Yeah. Okay, the sun is 8 light minutes away from Earth. If you 8 times the distance away, you couldn't see it. It would be too small. Okay. And I just say 8 because that's a light hour.
Okay. A
light hour, the distance light travels in an hour.
Yep.
The closest star is 4.5 light years away. Okay. So for us to not be able to see the closest star, it would have to be 4.5 years times the number of hours in a year times larger than the sun. Okay. So whatever number of hours there is in 4.5 years, you have to make the sun that many times larger to not be able to see it still.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And then you've been watching my show, so you
I
know
have.
how long a billion seconds is, right?
Yeah, but I can't remember, Dave.
It's 31,000 years. Okay. And the closest star is 25 trillion miles away. Give me a break.
Right.
You know, Polaris is 26 times larger than the sun. So if you made it 26 times farther than that distance that we said that you couldn't see it, that would be 2 light days. But they tell us it's 433 light years away. Okay.
And yet we can see it through that little tiny hole in the Georgia.
No, we could,
Guidestones.
yeah, but we can see with our naked eye. It's the,
Yeah.
it's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
Okay. And then to make it worse, that's the closest star we were talking about, 25 trillion miles away. And the other ones are magnitudes farther. And aliens decide to fly through all of that space and time, come here and crash in Roswell. Okay.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest. It's so friggin' dumb. I have a hard time even discussing it.
Yeah.
Versus maybe, you know, the Earth is a pond. Antarctica is the surrounding land containing that pond. Okay. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. What's out here in the outer space? Ooh, inner space, outer space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not up in the air. Perhaps there's other rings out there.
Right.
Perhaps there's oceans and more land, extra territory, extraterrestrials coming from the outer space to the inner space.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 10, 20, 30, 50,000 miles, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. It's not measured in light years. It's measured in light milliseconds. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So perhaps somebody could get in their free energy craft, come in here, check us out, hijack a couple people, probe them, and make it back in time for dinner with their family.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
One day.
Yeah.
So that's outer space. That's what I believe they're hiding. They're hiding more land, right? This is a map that was found in Hawaii, published in late 1800s, early 1900s. It was actually in a Hawaiian newspaper. I thought it was a New York, New York Journal.
Okay.
Showing, I don't know, I haven't even counted, 30 some odd extra continents outside.
Okay.
Right? Imagine this. So you live in Canada.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty tyrannical right up there, right?
Yes.
What's going on right now? So maybe you want to leave Canada. Maybe.
Yes,
right?
I maybe do.
Yeah, maybe you want to leave Canada. So where are you going to go? Well, there's free. Oh, maybe, you know, like I'm in Connecticut. Maybe I want to go to Florida. It's a lot freer than Connecticut, right? So people will flee away from tyranny.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, what if the whole world became tyrannical at the same time? That's impossible, right? No, can't imagine that, can you? Okay. Do you think people would want to flee to outer, freer lands? Maybe. Well, they don't want us to know that. They put us in a prison for our mind, and that prison is the globe.
Yep.
Go watch the Truman Show, the True Man Show, right? It's a story, you know, basically it's just telling us what is going on. You know, people go, what does it matter? It doesn't matter. The shape of the earth. It doesn't matter. It sure does. It matters who you are, where you are, what you are. Yes. They don't want you knowing the power of your mind. And the analogy I say is, imagine you lived in a giant apartment building and there's no windows and no doors and you never knew there was an outside. Right. You work on the 40th floor. You buy your food on the 10th floor. You work, you know, the gym is on the 90th floor. And, you know, everybody in there, you're meeting new people every day. People are having babies. And then someone says, hey, you know what? There's a whole new thing outside, you know, and you're like, well, what difference does it make? What difference does it make? It's that much of a difference.
Yeah. It's huge. It's huge.
It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Yeah. Like sometimes it just gets to me so much how how brain dead people are. And there's some people that will never wake up, like my sister and my brother, they will never wake up. Never.
Yeah.
So I just have to accept that. And it's not my job to, that's their journey. That's the choice of their journey. That's fine.
Yeah.
But there's so many people that are waking up right now. I think there's an energy change here. Something is going on where people started waking up. I think I draw the line at 2012. That was the apocalypse, the lifting of the veil.
Yeah.
And now people are they're waking up and they're just starting to get out of bed and put their feet on the floor, which is the base, the flat earth.
Right. Yes.
Mm-hmm. You're not spinning out of control, lost in an infinite vacuum where anything can take you out at any moment. You're here at the center of creation. And you have amazing power. Well, the elite do not like that. So they're trying to shut it down, separate us. They're separating us everywhere. They separate us by countries, by religions, sports teams, sex, gender. What I think, I thought of a new one last night that they're separating us by vaccinated and unvaccinated.
Yes.
They're separating us in every way possible because they know if we get together, they're finished.
Yes. Yeah, I totally believe that. And I totally agree with you, Dave. There's like this divergence of, people that are asleep and awake. And then there's this little convergence happening as well, as those people are finally coming together at a different level as well. So yeah, I totally see that. And I'm sad for the people that can't break free from the memes, right? Like we're being brainwashed by an image of a virus that has never been actually seen by any scientist on our planet. And they created an image of it and they're brainwashing people with a cartoon image.
Yeah.
Right?
It's all cartoons. As I'm scrambling to find my cartoon, here's one of them.
Right.
Just like this. This is an image. This is an image. Brainwashing. This is fear-based. This is fear-based.
Yes.
Okay. This is insanity. This is also insanity. It's complete and total insanity. Yeah. People are like, well, what do you mean that's a cartoon? I'm like, NASA admits they have no photos of Earth. None. Right. Oops. Oh, I just deleted an image. It's all right. It's all right. I have to remember to put it back in. Go ahead. What else?
I think it's interesting to, do you want to share anything about Tartaria? How do you say that?
Tartaria. Tartaria. So there used to be a worldwide civilization across the whole Earth plane, advanced civilization, as you can see by buildings that are built everywhere, pyramids and buildings in regular cities. I mean, we did not build this place in the last couple hundred years, last 100 years, basically.
Right.
We moved into something that was already here and started building on top of it. Tartaria is, it's not a theory because there's maps that you can find of worldwide civilizations. There's artifacts in every city, everywhere, not even just everywhere. Just go look at these things that they're finding in the middle of the Amazon jungle and Angkor Watts. Have you ever looked at Angkor Watts?
No.
It's insane, the stuff that was built. And then we think that the people built it with horse and buggy.
Right.
We couldn't even do it with today's modern cranes.
Right.
And that happened in the early 1900s when the takeover happened. There was some sort of cataclysm in the 1800s that happened, and then society was reset, like a great reset. Imagine that. Yes. Imagine that. And then in the 1920s, there was a massive die-off from the Spanish flu, but everybody was getting inoculated and everybody was wearing masks. So that's funny. 100 years ago that happened, right? And then, so they reset society back then, whether it was a combination of a man-made thing and a cataclysm, right? Mm-hmm. Who knows? But there's no question. In the app, if you hit the web button, there's a Tartaria button for anyone that's new to that. Start watching those videos, start subscribing to those channels. And subscribe to John Levy, Jonlevi. He does 20-minute video, maybe one a week or so. Watch all of his videos. and you will see a whole new world. You'll never be able to go outside and look again at things and be like, oh my God, like I can't go in the woods and look at these rocks because I know that they're not rocks. I know that they were trees at one time. Okay. Yeah. There's another channel called, he does really long videos, Hangman. I think it's Hangman or Hangman something else. I'll look it up. And you'll see, you'll learn so much about this world. But again, some of these rabbit holes are so deep that people are afraid to look down them because it'll consume your life. But I love it. I love there's never a day where I'm not learning something new and experience this amazing creation that we're here to experience. We're here to experience this incredible realm, and they've put us in a ball and covered it with fear and television programming. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Totally agree with that.
Yeah.
One of the words I love when you say the soul lure system.
Yeah, the soul lure system. They're literally trying to steal our soul.
Yeah.
And here's how I see it: is the stars above us, in my opinion, are souls. They're the consciousness of the world, and we have a soul in our body, and we're having this avatar experience here in this realm. It's like Avatar, and we're here to expand the mind of the creator, right?
Yes.
And our job is not to break anyone. We have two rules: don't break anyone else's free will,
right? And
don't lose control of your soul. But they're trying to break us down to the point where we're willing to give up our soul for fame and fortune or whatever it is. They want us in fear, but they need us to create their world for us. I believe they've lost their ability to manifest, and they're using us because desire and emotion and the things that make us human, that's what manifests reality here.
Yes.
They don't want us to know any of that. They want us to believe, nope, you got to work hard, save your money, put it in an IRA. And then when you're old and you can't enjoy it, you can maybe, if it's still there, we won't put you in an old age home.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yep. And if I were to throw a little bit of human design in here, the creator of human design talked about the earth plane. He talked about the light field, and he talked about the demon realm. And his discussion with the stars and was that it was right here. It was right around Earth. And we are incarnated through these sentient beings that are, helping us drop into these human meat suits and have this experience on this earth plane. So
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
There, that's the image I all of these are cartoons. This is literally my favorite meme, because this is what's controlling your mind.
Yeah.
This and this. Remove these two things and you have a whole new world ahead of you.
Totally. Yeah. Like you say, turn off your TV and walk around. Like my husband and I, we haven't bought into any of this. Our lives haven't changed. We are totally free. We have a cattle ranch. We get to move around because we're not controlled by that fear.
Right.
And that's such a huge thing. If people can just turn off their TVs and move around and don't buy into their human laws, right?
Yeah.
Live by the universal laws, and it totally changes your life.
100%.
Yeah. So Dave, for the last couple minutes, should we just pop up your human design so that people can see how magnificently on track you are?
Please, I'm ready. I'm ready to hear this.
Okay, let's do this. All right. So host is disabled. So you have to let me
okay. Sorry.
share my screen if that's
sharing.
possible.
Go ahead.
Then we'll go back to your
go ahead.
We'll go back to your app.
That's all right.
All right. So what I love about design is that basically it just kind of tells us our frequency, what we're designed to do here on this planet while we're in this meat suit. And for you, your incarnation cross or your purpose is to explain to us the Maya, to bring it to us in whole new details so that the truth and our growth and expansion and our continuity on this plane can actually happen. And what you're doing beautifully is you're initiating and helping people transform by showing us the whole new Earth cycle. This is a whole new thing that people are going to be seeing today. And you're bringing together a beautiful community in truth and through the creation and the creator. So you're right on track. I love it.
Wow. I used to laugh at astrology, but now I realize that's the real science. I don't understand it. And, but you know, astronomy is pseudoscience. I used to think that was science. It's all just made up nonsense. And I never understood Mars is in retrograde, so you got to watch what you're doing, whatever. How does a rock 25 million miles away that can't affect the tides, which is another thing,
Right.
how does that affect my life in any way, shape, or form? But when you realize that Mars is right here within the Earth system, that's incredible. That changes everything.
And like you say, they're sentient beings. They're providing us, like for me, they are like these information. They're information. They're providing us with information.
This is Mars. This is Mars through a P900 camera.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's a little out of focus, but it's still, there's geometric shapes, sacred geometry going on in there. There's all sorts of stuff. So, I look at the sky as the projector of our reality. Don't ask me how it works.
Right.
I'm not going to ask you either.
I think each one of us is having our own experience of it, though, right?
Absolutely.
So it's going to work differently for you than it will for me.
Yeah. We all see the world relative to our own position.
Yeah. Yeah. And to our own openness to receive the information as well.
Yeah. I wonder sometimes some of the people that just can't see it at all. I mean, is that their mission or did something break?
I think that the conditioning is so deep. I think the convincing mind is so thick, right? Like the veil, like you talk about, is so thick that, is that possible that that's their experience this time? Yeah, could be.
Yeah. So when their incarnation ends, they're going to go back. Are they going to go, damn, or they're going to be like, yeah, I trolled the crap out of that Dave Weiss guy. Which one is it?
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they get to, I guess they get to choose. Do they want to come back in a different way to see a different perspective?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard of the author Neville Goddard.
It sounds familiar. I don't know though. Tell me.
Okay. He was a thought leader from I think the 50s, 60s, 70s. But one of the lines that he always said was, creation is already finished. All we have to do is use our imagination and manifest what we want on this planet. And I think that
I love that. That's what I say.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the creator of human design as well said the same thing. Like, we are not creators, we are manifestors. We are here to manifest.
Imagine this. You're here. And with pure thought, you can manifest anything you want. Well, what have they done with our thought? They've scrambled it. They've poisoned us. They've poisoned our pineal gland, right? Which is our connection to this information. They're making us sick. Then anyone that watches the news is being hypnotized and put in fear. And when you're in that low fear, you can't manifest anything except shit. Excuse the language. Yeah. So just imagine if I'm right, that your thoughts create your reality, right? They don't want you to know that. Imagine if we all just started thinking properly. If we all started, and then karmically, like, let's say you're a great manifestor and then you decide to go start killing people, okay? Or breaking their free will. You're done. Your manifesting skills go away.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
So maybe that's part of the reason why the elite don't have their manifesting skills. And they also, like, I always say, how many people did George Bush kill? 0. He just convinced order followers to kill other order followers.
Yes.
But I believe that karmically they're all screwed, and that's why they can't manifest anymore. And maybe it's because they sold their soul or whatever. But it's very interesting.
It is very interesting. Yeah, it totally is. And you're right. They've hijacked our minds. That's all they've done. And I love that. I love that point of view where, they can no longer manifest. So they are using us as their pawns in a game that those that are awake don't want to play that game anymore. Like, I don't want to kill you.
You have a bunch of slaves working on your plantation.
Right. Yeah.
And you convince them to grow your crops and do everything. It's like, well, that works really well because I convinced them to do it. Well, they're convincing us to do the same thing, but with our minds.
Yeah.
Right. And then they're also, they pay us, but then they take the money back.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's so
and convincing us by, like you said, separating and dividing, right? And constantly pushing this hatred and fear, and which creates dis-ease in the physical body instead of ease. When we're connected, we're at ease. Everything flows easily.
Yep.
Amazing. Oh, I love that image. That's
this is a lake that's on a spinning globe flying through a space vacuum. The corkscrewing through space in speeds that you can't even imagine. And the lake manages to stay calm and flat.
And one of the things that, I've heard you say is, gravity can hold that down, but yet again, you can use a little straw and you could walk up to it and suck it up with your lungs. Right. So none of it really, makes sense.
Amazing. Gravity can do all of this. Okay.
Yeah. And that's actually when I talked to my husband about having a chat and putting it on my channel with you. He's like, well, tell him, like, there's no way we can be upside down in Australia when I'm like, I know, Dave knows this. He has images of it. It's funny. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So I think we can wrap it up there.
I believe so. Thank you very much, Dave.
I got one more thing.
Yes.
I'm gonna. So Blue Origin, or one of the fake space companies, is supposedly going to be taking some civilians into space, people that paid like $50 million or whatever. Okay. And the Globers are going to say, after they do that, they're going to call fake. They're going to call that they're shills. No, we're going to call it before it happens. These guys are just paid actors, just like the astronauts. They're going to say they're civilians. They're going to bring them up. It's going to be garbage nonsense. Whatever they show us, we're going to be able to just take it apart like we always do. And it's going to be nonsense. Nobody goes into space because space doesn't exist.
Exactly. Yep. So much fun. Do you want to pop up your app one more time?
So the app is called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app by Bluewater Bay. You can find it if you can't find the link, or you can't just point your camera right here. It'll come right up on your phone. You just go to theflatearthpodcast.com, theflatearthpodcast.com. You can find all the links there. And if you're unsure about spending $3 on an app that you'll have for the rest of your life on like a coffee or a beer, which costs more than that, and you have for 20 minutes, just read the reviews. Okay. And, you also, it's a time saver. Like if you research flat Earth, if you watch 500 hours worth of stuff that you Googled and looked up, about 2 hours of it's going to be real. And the rest of it's going to be nonsense because they've filled the cookie jar with a bunch of bad cookies, just nonsense. The app 500 hours on the app will give you 500 hours of real information. And all you need is just one video a day for 2 weeks. Just watch that featured video every day. And you too will become a lunatic flat earther, just like we are.
And your head will be popped out from the delusion that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, Dave. I totally appreciate you being here and meeting you. It's great. Thank you for doing what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.